And you get a lot of videos about constructing sentences, about, you know, subject verb agreement, things that are really low level. And yes, it's nice. We should try to write beautifully. But that's not where I would invest my time. We recommend. All right. Anyway, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday directed writing group time. As you know, I like to start off with a lesson that is applicable to everyone here. Today we have two people. Fortunately or unfortunately, Jason has a gig that he has to work at, and Ariel is off promoting her new book. I should also mention that Cece is working on deadline, so she doesn't have anything new to present today. So today's session is going to focus on Kim. So in some ways, this lesson is especially for you, and I think it will also help a lot of other people as well. But before we get started, as always, we're going to do a story recommendation, and I have a good one for you. So let's start with your location and a story that you'd like us to see, listen, hear, whatever. Cece, why don't you go first, please?
I am Cece. You said location? Sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm in North Carolina. And a recent show that I really recommend is The Last Frontier on Apple TV. It's very good. Really well written, and the plot twists are just fantastic and really good characterization. So highly recommend.
Good. Excellent show. So tell us what genre it is.
Ooh, is it thriller crime?
Tough question, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it thriller crime?
I don't know. That's the
Crime
that's the
thriller?
point of the question.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because it's sort of a mixed genre show.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Good. Thank you. Kim, how about you?
So I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And right now I've been watching The Mighty Nine on Amazon Prime, and I am so in love with it, and it's so good. They're only like 3 episodes in. I think the next one just aired today, and but I'm hooked like right now. So that's the one I recommend.
Good. So what's the history of this show? Do you know?
So this show, it started out as a group of voice actors basically just playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they would take their campaigns and then make it into a coherent story, and then it became an animated series. So it's based off of their gameplay, but obviously you got to iron it out for plot and conflict and everything like that. So they've made it into a nice cohesive story. So it's fabulous.
Excellent. Now, my mom told me that Dungeons and Dragons would never lead anywhere. So this is gives lie to that statement. And it's a good show, right? It's both, I mean, taking sort of a creative, open-ended storytelling exercise and turning it into a show. There's a lot to learn from that. And I think they have another show too, which the name escapes me.
Yeah, it's the Vox Machina, I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right, Vox Machina. So I watched that one too. And it's good for fantasy authors as well to get these tropes down. So my recommendation is a book and a show, and it is Slow Horses. So as you know, one of my interests is how stories compare across media, and it's worth watching both the Apple show and then reading the novel to see how that particular story is presented differently. On the one hand, you have audio and video. On the other hand, you have words. And so the producer, either the author or the showrunner, had to make choices. Both of them great, but great for different reasons. So it is worthwhile for anybody to look at them both and compare. All right, thank you both. So today I had a short, more of a talk than a lesson. And the reason why this comes up is we are just completing our contest and we're interviewing authors who may or may not want to join our community. And one of the things we get asked over and over again that we also observe is imposter syndrome. Now, I know we've talked about that in the past. I wanted to dig into it a little more deeply today. I titled this talk, 3 Factors That Predict an Author's Ultimate Success, but really the title could be seen as Vanquishing Imposter Syndrome. So keep that in mind. And I'm not by any means implicating Kim or Cece. I just know that in this setting, we've talked about it in the past, and we talk about it in Bardsy in general. I should start off by saying we all have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and it's not a bad thing. So we've worked with thousands of writers over the past few years, not intensively like this, but at least talked to them, got to know them, had them fill out a questionnaire. As you know, in a past life, I used to do research. So my first thought is to do a survey. And we did a survey a while back where we tried to figure out what authors' personas were using cluster analysis, and then taking that information and using it to guide and help people. I'm not going to talk about that today. Instead, what I'm going to talk about is some anecdotal data about what we've noticed about people, and then how those observations about any particular individual seem to affect their chances for success. So I don't want to hold you in suspense. Here they are. And this is not my work alone. This is all of our staff has been talking about this constantly. These are 3 things that if you have them, they're going to be helpful. If you don't have them, you should cultivate them. So I want to talk about each of them in order, and then we'll take our break and go to Kim, who I believe has all of these in abundance, as well as Cece, as well as Justin and Ariel, even though they're not here today. Oh, and I should add, my group is cool, much cooler than Celeste, because my authors have published books, and Celeste's authors are on their way to publication. So I hope well, when she does watch this, don't get mad. All right, so the first one is kind of obvious, English fluency. Now, the issue here is for some people, this is a big barrier, while for other people, it's no barrier at all. And it's luck, right, in a sense. Did I grow up in a place where people were speaking a lot of English, or reading a lot of books, or telling stories aloud? Or did I grow up somewhere else? We have elite members from Europe, one from Australia, I guess that's English. No comments. And someone who's actually living in Japan. Now, some of them learned English as a second language, and you can see this in their writing. It's not a criticism per se, but the reader in the United States market, or even more broadly, is going to react differently because the words are not as natural as they might be. Now, there's not a lot you can do about this, except read more and talk more and write more. And it's the reading more part that really helps. A lot of people will tell you that you can't learn a language after the age of such and such, but that's not true. The more you practice, the more you're going to learn. There's another aspect to this too, which I think is even more relevant today, which is you should trust your ability to write English if it's there. I've been scanning the YouTubes, and you get a lot of videos about constructing sentences, about, subject-verb agreement, things that are really low level. And yes, it's nice. We should try to write beautifully, but that's not where I would invest my time. We recommend investing your time at the top story level, thinking things through, and then executing on that transmission. Proofreading, line editing, all that stuff is fun, but save it for later. If you have 90 seconds to spend on your story, spend it on your MCS. Don't spend it sort of rewriting the first sentence a million times. Make sense? All right. Number 2 is something that motivating imagination seems to be a good name for. And there's 2 ideas here. The first thing is you have to have a story to tell. The one thing we really can't do at Bardsy or any other writing coach or program for that matter is to tell you give you a story to tell. We just can't do it, right? We can barely tell our own stories. That drive, that vision has to come from the author. And by and large, it's not a problem. Nearly everyone we've run across has a story they want to tell. And then our job and their job as well is to write that story properly in the form of a novel. There's a deeper level that this works at as well, which is imagination helps you meet challenges. And there's 2 levels of challenge I'm thinking about. At the top level, there's the nasty sort of slings and arrows that every author faces. I got rejected, right? This guy didn't like my work, or someone thumbs down my YouTube video. It happens. It's going to happen a lot. We've all heard stories about, I received 547 rejection letters before my first novel was published. Motivating imagination is going to help you in those instances. Now, I say this as opposed to persistence, right? A lot of people say, persist. You only fail if you give up. But I want to encourage you to think about that slightly differently. When you get a rejection letter, what matters is your reaction to it. And the best reaction you can make is to imagine how it could have gone differently. So first of all, it just at a surface level, imagine a success. That's going to be the antidote to that immediate rejection. And secondly, try to imagine what you could have done differently to sway that outcome. Now, it's past. It's a counterfactual. So you don't need to worry about it. What you're trying to do is think through exactly why this happened so you'll get better in your next attempt. That's what motivating imagination is. And then at a lower level, we often run across problems in telling our stories. It's not coming across well. Readers aren't satisfied. So at a lower level, it acts as a way of addressing issues. I have a problem with my peak, right? The story is not peaking properly. So what motivating imagination does for the people who possess it is it allows you to work through different alternatives so that you have options, and then you can select the option that's going to work the best. One issue we have in our critique groups is that people can identify problems very easily, but what they can't do is identify solutions. Now, one thing we avoid is giving people solutions. Why? Because it inhibits the overall coherence of the story. Stories have to emerge almost holistically from an author's mind. But what you can do is give options, right? And the best thing we can do for ourselves when we're facing a creative challenge is to think through lots of options. And when we have those options available from our imagination, then we can solve those challenges. And then finally, number 3, we have learning ability. And I tried to phrase this delicately. You could call it willingness to learn or attitude, but I'm going to call it learning ability because this is a more demonstrable trait. There's plenty of people with good attitudes. Oh, I want to learn. I want to fix my writing. I want to do a good job. okay, great. I mean, that's wonderful. It's a billion times better than someone says, I'm great, I don't need to learn anything, love what it is. We want to go a step farther. Learning ability means you can actually take new information, new techniques, new skills, and incorporate it into your writing. So this isn't a matter of taking another writing class, of watching another writing video, or reading another book on how to write. It's a matter of writing, seeing what's wrong with it, finding something that'll help, and then rewriting so it's better. It's that practice of making actual changes in how you write that is ultimately going to help you. So let me contrast that. Filling your head with a lot of knowledge and tips doesn't do the job. It doesn't seal the deal. What you have to do instead is be able to use these tips, tricks, tools, blueprints, templates, whatever, and then integrate them into your writing practice. And you can't do them all at once. You can't do them even sequentially, right? You have to figure out what the right one is at this particular time that's going to improve this particular piece of writing, use it, and then see if it does improve it. Then you have to follow through. You have to sort of integrate that into your practice as opposed to it being a one-time thing. And the idea is to steadily build our craft, right? So we learn how to write a better character. We learn how to write better dialogue. We create a better inciting incident. And we practice until we seal that knowledge in our heads. So you can think of this as playing baseball or doing knitting, whatever skill you want to try. It's the practice and the drilling that is going to allow you to succeed, to get better. And for writers, we're lucky, right? We can essentially practice on the real thing. And that, I believe, is going to be our topic for next time, which is called Intelligent Trial and Error. So, do you guys have any thoughts or questions? Everyone's shaking their head. All right, we are glazed over, but that's okay. Hopefully this helped a little bit. Did it help? Yay. All right, 2 nods. Well, thank you for that.
Bardsy delivers the tools, guidance, and support you need to produce compelling novels. Our well-researched and thoroughly tested approach includes our minimum complete story, a 90-second exercise that keeps your writing on track while fueling creativity, Bardsy Publishability Index, a 23-dimension checklist that offers attainable goals and provides actionable feedback, and our brand new comprehensive character developer that helps you construct unforgettable characters. Come see for yourself at Bardsy.com today. Try our workshop or enter our first chapter contest. Then, when you're ready, Elite Membership delivers writing groups, personal coaching, and a curated community. With Bardsy, your work will captivate everyone, from agents to publishers, and, most importantly, your readers.